our house, we are zero landfill waste, and a big part of that is composting all of our food waste. Composting food waste is good for the environment because we avoid putting food in a landfill and methane gas being produced, and instead we create nutrient-rich soil for our garden.
This is our lettuce grow system. It's a hydroponic system that uses 95% less water than your typical gardening system. The water sits in the bottom here, it filters up through a tube and rains down onto the roots that sit in these small cups here. Another great thing about this system is it's all made from recycled ocean plastics.
So this year we received a donation from Grove Collaborative. A big part of this company is producing sustainable cleaning products that don't have toxic chemicals and are not tested on animals. Some of the products that we received was multi-purpose cleaner, stain remover, band-aids, and little toothpaste tabs.
Things we did when we moved into the house was change out 130 of these incandescent light bulbs to LED light bulbs, which ended up saving us lots of energy and money.
Around the sustainability house, we have 70 sugar maple trees. And this year we decided to tap 8 of them with 15 buckets that we got. So right here, I started boiling down some maple syrup sap. Started about at the top, and it's boiled down to 3/4 of the way.
When the tenants first moved into the house, all of the flow rates were measured for the sinks and the shower heads, and they were almost at 9 gallons per minute for the shower heads, and the efficient flow rate is 2.5. This saved the house about 277 gallons a week and $200 a year in cost.
This is our hydroponic system. It was designed and built by a past tenant. How it works is the water is pumped through these tubes and runs down through each of these white tubes, and it runs over the roots of each of our plants. And it uses 95% less water than a traditional soil growing system. Here we have our water tank, so this is where all the water is stored that gets pumped through. And then we add nutrients once a week into this water for the plants.
We have a honeybee hive in our backyard. Over here this shows the anatomy of the beehive. Once the bees fill up the deep hive bodies, they go into the excess up here where the queen excluder is above that, and that's where we'll collect the honey from. So we make sure the bees have enough to sustain their hive, and then we harvest the excess. Honeybees are not the only bees. There are also wild bees that pollinate certain flowers and do most of the pollination of most plants in the environment. So although honeybees are still good for pollination and for producing honey, too much of them can overrun wild bee populations and populations of other insects. There also is an issue with pesticides impacting honeybees and killing their hives. You can start your own in your backyard. It's not too difficult once you get it started, and have a queen that then sustains the hive. Maintenance includes feeding them sugar water and keeping their pollen stocked up. And then in the wintertime, you usually make the beehive smaller, so there's less space that they have to keep warm.
So this is our aquaponics system, and how it works is the fish live in this fish tank here, and their waste goes into the water. Then that water is pumped into our grow bed. The plants use nutrients from that waste, and then they also filter out the water, make it nice and clean, and it goes back into our fish tank. So the fish produce ammonia, and then in the grow bed there's bacteria that convert the ammonia to nitrite and then to nitrate, so it will be a usable form for the plants. This is important because ammonia and nitrite are both toxic for the plants and animals.
This is our infuser that we got donated to us by Levo. This infuser can do a number of things. So right now we are making soy wax candle. We put soy wax that's right here. And then we grabbed mint from our aquaponics and hydroponics downstairs. This can also make things like chapstick. We have a thing right there and right here. And you can make other things like lotion bars and soaps and things like that. This is our Nutramilk that we got donated to the house. We can make our own plant milks. So what we've made here is a simple oat milk. So what we added was 2 cups oats, a few tablespoons of sugar if we wanted sweetness, and then some vanilla and salt.
Here's a vermicomposting system. It's a great way to compost indoors, especially for the winter or if you don't have a backyard. In this tote we have dirt along with about 500 red wiggler worms. And so we add our food waste into the tote along with a carbon source, typically paper. So we use our paper scraps like egg cartons or food cartons, the worms will break down our food waste.
So in here we have our various recycling systems. Here we have our plastic that can be recycled through Houghton County. Here we have our plastic bags and plastic that's more stretchy that we can ship to Trex or take to Walmart. And then here we have our eco bricks, so we can collect any type of plastic that can't be traditionally recycled and we can compact it into these bottles.
You do not need to be vegan or vegetarian to eat plant-based. You can do meatless Mondays or maybe choose one meal a day that you eat only plant products. And that means that you avoid meat, dairy, and eggs and other animal products to the greatest extent that you can. And a lot of people do this in order to better their health and also better the environment. Animals take up a lot of space to graze, and it also takes a lot of land to grow food for them. Most animal products have a very high water footprint as well and produce a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. It's also better for your health. There have been studies that show that countries that eat more plant-based foods also have lower rates of heart disease and cancer. Animal protein also is not as good for you. Processed meat is actually considered carcinogenic according to the FDA, and plant protein has a lot more phytonutrients, antioxidants, fiber, and other nutrients.
Here are some of our sustainable swaps. For example, we use this silicone baking sheet instead of parchment paper.